This is me recasting a game that was live just a couple days ago here, and yeah. So welcome to my cast. I'm BisuDagger. We are watching Hoejja versus Mind. We've got Mind down at the bottom left, and at the top right we will have Hoejja. Our first is EVT of the day, and like I said, in just 7 hours we will be able to watch the best of four, or I'm sorry, the round of four. So in the round of four, we'll have Rain versus Zero. So that's going to be a PVZ to start off the day. And then I believe that it's going to be last versus whoever wins here, Hoejja or Mind. So it could be a TVT or it could be a TVZ. So that is going to be pretty exciting. I've casted all of the games of the round of 8 so far today, and I'm going to continue to do so until we're done with this best of 3. So if you guys missed out on any of the games earlier, you can definitely watch them. I would say pretty exciting. The most incredible series to me was the first one, purely because of how well Rain did. In his first game back against Sharp, who was a finalist of the last tournament he was in. So that, that being said, we did see Sharp actually lose pretty horribly to Shuttle. It was a 3-0, and so that was unfortunate. Eyewater making his name pretty big in the scene after that point. Let's see. Raffle says, I haven't watched Brood War in years. I'm looking forward to seeing OP TVZ. Oh, interesting. A lot of people are complaining as Zerg players. They are complaining that Zerg don't have a lot of options when it comes to opening up versus Terran. And really, all Zerg players have been doing is getting their natural base, getting to the mutatech, and using the mutas to, try and wear down either the approaching army coming across the map, or try and do some SEV harassment. But either way, there's so much more variation for a Protoss player. They can go for fast 2 racks, they can go for 3 racks, they can go for 3 racks plus 1, and academy upgrades, they can go to 5 racks to deal with mutas. I mean, there's so many different variations purely because how many barracks are you going to build out? When are you going to get gassed? Are you going to, force out the +1 upgrade earlier? Or are you going to maybe get a factory and go up to a faster science vessel, go mech? It's just a plethora of information that you need as a Zerg player. So I think, I think this was coming from True Touch, and I'm not trying to throw True Touch under the bus, because he's a really good Zerg player, and he's not trying to bitch. What True Touch is trying to, convey is that the scouting options just aren't very good for a Zerg player. Your Overlord can get picked off, kind of has to sit askew of the natural base, can't really see much more information than that. You can't run a Zergling in because walls are pretty decent. And it's kind of hard to prevent a natural base from coming up as a Zerg player. It's really hard to pressure, especially if a bunker gets dropped down with good scouting from a Terran. So in terms of scouting, and this is an issue that was brought up by a lot of StarCraft 2 players, actually. And yes, well, you're going to hear people bitch more adamantly if they know that the game can be patched. And so in that sense, in StarCraft 2, well, a lot of players were, oh, this is huge, losing that Overlord. Really nice pickoff from Mind to start off here. But a lot of Zerg players were complaining, and it actually led to the Overlord speed getting buffed. So the Overlord was a little bit faster, so it can get that early scout information. And then you could also get speed on your Overlord super quickly now with the research, getting into Overseers. Overseers get this extra buff to their health, can move a lot faster. So it's just a nice addition that Blizzard did. And so I think that's where True Touch is coming from, is that, oh, my webcam isn't coming up. I'm still flailing my arms. Trust me. There we go. Just wasn't on the top screen. So, what I think is what True Touch is saying. If it was a perfect world and Blizzard was still here, would we be able to add some options to the Zerg arsenal to at least help with the scouting, so there's less guesswork? But then everybody goes to the excuse, well, guys, Jaedong, he dominated for so long against Terran players. How can you say that Zerg is needing anything more when the best player in the world beats everybody out? Just an arbiter passing by. Oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna tell the guys at work tomorrow, because I told you guys at the beginning of this cast I'm just gonna call in on stream and be like, hey, I'm not coming in, I'm casting, I'm gonna be in late. It's okay, I can pull strings because my project is going really well at work. I'll just be like, hey guys, there's an arbiter over my desk, so you might not see me for a while. That's cool. Oh, great news in my world. By the way, I'm just going to plug this in. Despite the disaster that the TSA and Delta destroyed my laptop and my microphone, I have secured work for maintenance simulations on the 777 for Boeing and possibly the 787. And on top of that, I might have brought into my company, based on connections out in Seattle, work for augmented reality with the HoloLens and using the Vive for virtual reality maintenance simulations in the future too. 2017 could get pretty awesome. I'm going to augmented reality. How awesome. I've worked with the Vive though. I've got a new project coming up on the side with that one too. It's kind of fun. You know, I'm not a huge virtual reality fan, but I do like programming virtual reality. Oh, someone says 787 is amazeballs. Yes, it is. I actually programmed a virtual reality walkthrough tour with the Oculus Rift inside the 787. So it gives you the full feel. You could walk around in between aisles and the seats and stuff. It was actually shown off at this demo called ITSEC, the largest international simulations conference in Orlando, Florida. It's held, and I've actually had pretty huge contributions at both my companies that I've worked for in that regard. Okay, so Hoejja here. Hoejja, the playoff god, is somehow in this final 8 right now, and as an Elite 8, that means he must have played pretty well in the group stages. If anybody wants to help me out with that, they can. So it seems like this early aggression here with some mutas and lings at the natural base, trying to, you know, shake some things up, knock on the door here. But this stim with the medics in a pretty good spot is actually keeping those mutas from doing some heavy damage. So off these 5 racks, Mind is doing a great job, and this is the signature Flash build that Mind is going for. Flash says 5 racks all day, every day. You can cut on turrets, you'll be perfect, and you can see that the upgrade's on the way. So this is actually going to be a pretty fast +2. Not just a +1, but a fast +2 on these Marines, because he decided to go for the 5 racks full investment on upgrades rather than getting a faster factory and a faster starport, since it seems like Mind's looking to really just try and bust up this game right away. So not even having to worry about the third base, he's going to try and battle the mutas and the lings and bust up the sunken defenses at the front here. Is Hoejja going to be able to hang on here? I don't know. I think I'm just feeling like Mind might just have too much here. It's going to all come down to the timing of these mutas engaging at the same time. All of the army units have to engage along with the static defenses. Oh, this is great though. This is huge, because cleaning up these units in the back that would come to reinforce would really help out. But look at that. The sunken colonies are going to get eliminated. The mutas were distracted, I guess, just a little bit too long here. Hoejja is not going to be able to keep those lurkers alive because of the scan going down too. The lurkers being eliminated. Somehow these mutas are holding on. Oh, no. No. Are you guys as amazed as I am that Hoejja somehow survived this? This is usually so easy for a Terran player, once they get the Sunkens down, to just take the game. But no economic damage has been done. And third base has gone the way for Hoejja, and I would actually say that Hoejja is in a good spot. This is like not just a good spot, this is as good as it can go off this 5 racks pressure. What an incredible turn of events here. Hoejja playing like a god. All right, let's see. Hoejja was 2-1 in a group with Sharp, Effort, and Sky. But that's still incredible to exit out of a group. Effort, actually, I believe in that group stage was last place. He didn't win a single game, and that's pretty incredible. Oh, yeah, we should talk about more VR tech later. Cool. We can definitely do that. Anti-social monkey. Man. Augmented reality tech is something that I'll talk about, maybe at the beginning of the next game too. But this game is just going on way too well for us to divulge into that conversation right now. So, a dropship has come out, and this is really good. So dropship play, I feel like it should always be the follow-up right before the science vessel, because it really just opens up, you know, this potential for harassment. And if it's not there, all you've done was just invest, you know, what, 100 into the dropship. So nothing too critical there. And look at this, Hoejja actually clearing up the pressure at that third base. That was huge. Yeah, I think that minor amount of pressure at the third actually with those vultures was pretty good for Mind here. Okay, so there's still way too many Marines. The lurkers. The lurkers need to be able to get to this additional base. And look at that, the dropship play coming down here too. Where is the observer? Look at the base. Look at the yellow. Who is this? Me observing? Oh my god. Okay, so all these Marines getting dropped in here too. The scan going down. Both the lurkers are gone. And the mutas are not having a good time here. Hoejja's losing the third. And this is a turn of events. GG. And Hoejja tap it out. Project, aka Mind winning off right there. I watched quite a few movies on my flight into Seattle, and one of them was Keanu, the movie about the cat. What an adorable movie! If you guys haven't seen it, but it was really funny to watch Key and Peele. I think those other names. In the movie, they're kind of like a white suburban type black dude, and so the way they say shit is really hilarious in those movies. All right, let me get some water real quick. All right, well, that was a good start for a ZVT. Pretty incredible play by Mind. Do I live in the Seattle area? No, I actually live in Florida. I live in Jacksonville, Florida. So what I do is twice a year, roughly twice a year, I fly out to Seattle to meet with all the people that participate in the project that I work on. So I have Boeing SMEs, I have Boeing project managers. I work with another company called Smashing Ideas that works on the Bay in Seattle. They're pretty cool too. And oh my god, their office is epic. It's a full panoramic view, all windows of the Bay of Seattle. It's beautiful. I love visiting Seattle just because of their building. They're wood floors, so we can ride around on scooters across the map. All right, let's get this on here. And so it's a lot of fun. The game's here, I promise you. It was just loading the normal crap. So don't worry about it. You didn't miss anything important here. Yeah, it's a very long flight to get out here, too. Okay, so game number 2 in this best of 3. That means we need to update the score so you guys, you peeps coming in, are not confused. Yes, you're all my peeps. Closer than my peeps you are to me, baby. All right, if anybody can remember that song, you are old school like me. We are the OGs of StarCraft. That's how old we are. All right. I wish I could say like I'm a legit OG. I mean, I played StarCraft since its release. But when it comes to competitive StarCraft and Team Liquid, you know, I only came midway through when you look at the grand scheme of things. So I can't claim to that, but I have been a StarCraft fan since '96. All right. I don't know where the Bay is. I guess that's South Seattle if you consider the marketplace. They are literally right next to like the marketplace, Pike's Place, in these buildings that are called the Twin Towers. That's what they're called. And they have like the east and the west one or something, but they're right over one of the light rail tracks. Okay. In which I rode the light rail. That was an interesting experience too. So we have Hoejja on the top right-hand corner and Mind down at the bottom left. Guys, this is going to be maybe the last game of the night, if not one more, if it goes to an ace match here. And we are watching the Thrill Starleague. Again, thank you all for joining in for the cast. All of you who have been here for so long. We are several hours into this cast. I'm actually surprised it's only 11:30 because we started at 9. Somehow we've had the miracle of this not lasting forever. I think also not having the fluff in between games, which is why I really like to cast from VODs sometimes, is because we can really just cut out a lot of the fat, all that advertisement that we don't need, because I'm not trying to profiteer off this. All right, Hoejja, opened up with a pretty solid opening, I think, for Zerg players on Circuit Breaker, because I think all Zerg players are right now losing to Terran players on Circuit Breaker. We actually saw Jaedong. If you watched, I casted Jaedong's replays 2 weeks ago, and he was losing a lot of games, but he was trying to experiment because he's really unhappy with the place that Zerg is in right now. And so while I'm talking about the way that True Touch talks, maybe came out in 98. Oh, whatever. No. Did the game really come out in 98? I must be losing my mind. I thought 98 was Brood Wars expansion. And 96 was the original one. Oh, God. Whatever, it's no big deal. I'm always saying things wrong on this cast. That's not why you're here. And anyway, so I thought that Hoejja played a really good game in terms of like what True Touch was saying is that Zergs just are simply losing these days versus Terran players. And that's okay. It'll get figured out. The meta shifts back and forth. Remember, there was a Savior era. There was a Jaedong era where everybody just lost despite what you would think were the disadvantages that Zerg had. But I liked what someone mentioned earlier, that 2-hatch Muta is pretty tough on a lot of these maps. This is why I think Blue Storm is mixed into the match pool every once in a while, even though it's all, because, that's obviously the famous Muta map from Jaedong, where he does the 2-pronged attack. That was awesome. But Circuit Breaker is a large map. Match Point, it's a 2-player map, which makes it a longer map. Obviously, if it was a 4-player map, it would be really weird and jacked up. It's just, you need a more symmetrical map to have a 4-player map. But what do you guys suggest would be a better map for Zerg that exists? Maybe like Taebaek Mountains. Taebaek Mountains was actually a pretty interesting map from the previous Africa Starleague, and its potential to return is pretty good. I thought Taebaek Mountains and Overwatch both turned out to be really good maps for the StarCraft scene. Even though there was a lot of criticism, including me, I'll be first to admit that I was really, really critical of Taebaek Mountains, but they edited it after the group stages, and it turned out to be really fun to watch. Okay, so there's some Zergling pressure going on here inside the natural base, and Mind is actually having to pop the Marines in and out of the bunker. Obviously, he wants to keep them alive here, but he can't just keep them straight up in this bunker. Oh my God, Hoejja's just going for gold here, isn't he? Because the Zerglings will kill off the SCVs if he doesn't bring the Marines out of the bunker, which means that he runs the risk of losing them. This is some great early game harassment. What is it? Was Zerg players able to get the Zerglings inside of the main and natural bases of their opponents? We saw the same blunder from Eyewater when he was playing against Zero here. And Hoejja, maybe he could take this game and send us to a third. We're not ready to go home, are we? Let's see Hoejja come back, take us to an ace match, and really put Mind on some rails. It would be very, very surprising, though. Here come the initial flock of mutas coming out off these two bases. And clearly we don't see all the mutas that are going to be involved in this play quite yet, but I imagine the first 7 or so should be ready to go here. You can see that the macro hatchery, where is the macro? Where is it? Is there a macro hatchery inside that natural base? I didn't see, at least at the south point, and that's a significant amount of larva lost if he doesn't have that additional hatchery built up. So Mind doesn't have a lot to defend here at his main base. you know, when you go for 5 factory, you get a lot of Marines out. And not only are we seeing not a lot of Marines for Mind, but he doesn't have a lot of turrets to cover the area. Now, I generally see Terran players build those typical 2 turrets down at the south side of the main command center, but additional turret is needed between the gas and the 2 racks that exist to at least help combat the mutas when they go for harassment here. Now, this is a decent force that's pushing out, trying to keep the mutas distracted from attacking inside Mine's bases, because God knows that Mine needs the extra time to actually get his tech back on track here and his economy going well. This is a good force of mutas though that has taken out everything in the middle. There is no more approaching threat. And maybe Hoejja can start thinking about a possible 3rd base at this time too. Oh, but here comes the engagement. And so the turrets here are being built on the north side of these barracks. And I actually disagree with that position. Why not keep it closer to the gas? Because the gas needs to be defended anyway. And you've got a few more turrets built down there. But I guess Hoejja is just really committing to try taking out these turrets. But between the repair and the additional turrets being built up right there, these mutas have just taken a lot of damage, but not gotten a lot done. There really hasn't been a lot of heavy damage, and Hoejja is just going to be bouncing his glaive attack, waiting for any Marines to pop out that he can just kill off very quickly from this barracks. He's found a spot. Now imagine if he had built an additional turret where I have been harping on at this point. He wouldn't be able to be in that sweet spot there to continue to attack and, you know, just rail against that more southern point of this map, or of the barracks. So all behind this, though, Hoejja still hasn't set himself up for a 3rd base. I feel like he is just making himself more and more all in. And is this going to be enough? I mean, we've seen this repeatedly in games with Hyun, where he doesn't actually transition well out of these 2 base muta-type plays. And then he ends up losing the game. I know that Monk has an incredible game against Hyun in that fashion too, where it just looks like Wild Mind is just taking some pretty significant damage, having to relocate his barracks, losing some turrets here and there. He's still in a pretty good position. His mining hasn't been compromised here. And, you know, Hoejja has no follow-up in this game to do anything. And this is just... I'm almost disappointed because I want to be excited about these mutas hitting off so much. Yeah, he did get a nice rack snipe here and there, but it's just continuing the amount of mutas, and mutas just can't win this game. Unless of course we saw Guardian. Oh, come on. Just convert these into Guardians. That would be pretty hilarious if somehow he got the Greater Spire off 2 bases. Not something we typically see or have seen in a really long time, and that's kind of one of those weird desperate builds. So the wall of turrets and barracks is really complete here. The mutas are going to try and go to the south. Oh, the 4 turrets. Is he going to be able to take these out quick enough, though? That is so much damage. Even with the SCVs coming to repair, too. Hoejja, why are you doing this, you mad dog? Trying to go for it here, and it's just not going to be good enough. Wow. So that was painful to watch. The mutas not able to complete the damage and open up a wound at the bottom. There are not a lot of drones there too. So little mining coming from the natural base. I think we're just waiting for a really slow GG here. We can see it's still sitting at lair tech at this natural base too. Oh, he at least gets 1 turret. The swipes in are pretty good. I mean, Hoejja has at least shown that he has some pretty decent micro with his mutas. How is he going to stop this Marine push out, though? Especially since he's wasting so much health on taking out these turrets. One more swipe! Yeah, he does get it, though. So he's just opened up that wound that we were hoping for at the south side. If Hoejja wants to try and take this game, these SCVs are going to be a little bit in peril now. Only mining from the top half of those mineral lines. But you can see that there's still pretty heavy mining coming from that natural base. Oh my god, that was really significant. So those were actually the overlords that were a part of the control group for microing the mutas so that way they would stay stacked. And they slowly made their way into vulnerable positions. The Marines picked them off. And that's really bad for Hoejja, who's now probably supply capped as he gets back his 2 overlords worth of supply. You can see, oh, one of the mutas almost, it does, it gets picked off. The stim playing perfectly. Mind actually with the small force, weakening the mutas up so much here. And everything is still under control. The mining difference is just astronomical. Somehow, though, Hoejja manages to clean up that force, is still hanging on to this game, and is playing this like a ZVZ. Really, like, even at this point, we're 11 minutes and 30 seconds into the game, and he has less drones than you would in a typical Zerg versus Zerg. Oh, that's no good. Yeah, so the mutas, there's like less than a control group at this point. There has to be. And what do? You just you slowly die from here. This is what Hoejja's doing. He's trying to look at least like an entertaining death. Make this look like a... Or maybe it's just more practice at this point. I know a lot of programmers just like to say, well, even if this is going downhill for me, and maybe I'll just, practice my macro a little bit more and see if I can, do the muta micro drill here and kill off any more Marines. Make this painful for Mind, who is looking like he is ready to win and advance. If Mind advances here, it's going to be Mind versus Last TVT, and I think that's going to heavily favor Last, because Mind has not had a good TVT record over this past year. In fact, it's actually pretty bad. So when it comes down to it, I'd say that Last is favored. And then Zero versus Rain, I would say that Zero would also be favored, except for how Rain played earlier today was just absolutely incredible. But Zero or Rain versus Last, I think either of those would make really, really nice final matchups. It's only a matter of time before Kongdu takes up Rain also. He's way too popular between StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2 to not join the Kongdu cult. That's what we'll call it, right? We'll call it the Kongdu cult. They got all the top players. Shark doing a really good job of just reeling them in. This does feel like we're watching a muta UMS. This is absolutely hilarious. It's just like a constant amount of Marines, and I think Mind's just not even trying too hard, because at this point, he could have always busted out a starport and gotten the science vessel, and as soon as the science vessel with the radiate comes out, this is just shut down. All right. I can't believe this game is still going on. Here come the mutas engaging one more time. Is this going to be the final time here? He's got a good little area. Oh, until that scan happened, he had a nice micro point to pick off Marines at the ridge. But nothing is going to stop this force here now. How can he continue to get this? He has like the perfect amount of drones on gas and minerals to always keep producing like a constant number of mutalisks. But here we are, folks. Look at that. He got the +1 attack, too. That's actually pretty funny. And very significant, actually, that he did get +1 attack. He really needs every bit he can to try and out-micro these units here. Without any damage on the economy at this point, I wonder if Mind is actually going to be considering getting another command center. You've got to have, at this point, unless you built more barracks, just a plethora of minerals. And it's really easy for a Terran player now to just build an additional command center and start floating it to locations. GG! Oh! Woo! Guys, we did it. We made it through all the games of the round of 8. We've just watched, and I've just casted 4 best of 3s. Oh yeah, thank you so much for watching this with me, guys. It has been a pleasure. I'm gonna play the Crazy Lady song again one more time. We're gonna watch a highlight video as I do my X'd out here, and I'm done. I'm exhausted. I'm gonna be up in 7 hours to cast the round of 4, and it's gonna be Rain versus Zero and Last versus Mind. So prepare for it, guys. And take care. Have a good night, everybody. Love you all. Leave nice messages on Team Liquid if you want. I'll see you guys shortly.